This video will show you how to put an essay into MLA format. So for the purpose of this grade, you had to have all 5 of your paragraphs checked off for having the correct structure before I would ever accept the typed version, so make sure you have done that. And when you have, you can type your entire essay, skipping a line for each paragraph, like so. And I'm going to bounce back and forth between Microsoft Word as well, just to show you how to do some of these different things. So I've done that. I'm going to check it off. Next up, I want to make sure that I'm using 12-point font Times New Romans. So Control A will select everything, and we're going to make sure we choose that font. In Microsoft Word, under the Home menu, Times New Roman 12. Next up, 1-inch margins. In Google Docs, page setup. Just make sure all of these are 1. In Microsoft Word, under page layout, margins normal. Next up, double spaced. So in Google Docs, we're going to go to Format, with everything selected, of course. Control A if you need to redo that. And click Line Spacing, Double. In Microsoft Word, we can simply press Control 2. One thing I have noticed is that under page layout, you see the spacing after 10 points. It creates some extra spaces and some weird spots. So delete that. In this menu, it should read before and after 0 points and line spacing double when you have everything selected with Control A. So that's all done here. Next up, a header. So if you just click a bunch of times at the very top of your paper, your header will pop up. Otherwise, you can click Insert Header. We're going to write a line, Control-Shift-R. I'm going to type my last name, and I'm going to insert a page number here. And pay close attention to the font, because it tends to switch back to something else, like Arial. So make sure that you're still in Times New Roman. For Microsoft Word, same thing. And we're going to write a line, Smith, and insert a page number in the current position. And make sure we're in Times New Roman 12 font. And you just click down here to get out of the header. Maybe double click, yeah. Similar thing to get out of the header for Google Docs. Next up is a heading. A heading is on the left, and it's 4 lines. So I'm going to enter down and type in John Smith. That would be replaced with your name, your teacher's name, the name of the course, and then the date in this format. So I will save a little time, copy this over to Microsoft Word. I'm going to click in front of America, and there we go. My heading is done. Next up, the title centered. So I'm going to enter down, center align, Control-Shift-E, American Dreams Deferred will be my title. Alt-Tab over to Microsoft Word, enter down, Control-E to center, American Dreams Deferred. Done. Next up, indent the first line of each paragraph with Tab. Now you might have already done this, but I didn't on purpose just to show you the correct way. So click in front of your first word. Don't press spacebar 5 times. It'll never line up perfectly. Instead, press Tab. And you'll notice here at the top on the ruler, there's a blue little line by the first line indent, which should be at a 1/2 inch. And that's correct. So we can get rid of all these extra spaces between the paragraph. I just left them to figure out where the paragraphs are, so we can do our tabs. And the same thing in Microsoft Word. But if I can do 2 entire papers like this in something like 10 minutes, then you can suffer through watching me tab over. After we indent all of our paragraphs, the next thing we're going to do is create our works cited. So the first thing we do, we don't just press enter until we get to a new paragraph, or a new page rather, because then when we edit our paper at all, it's going to move around our spacing. So the way to avoid that is, I'm going to press enter down to a new line here and insert a page break. Then I'm going to center a line and type in works cited. Many students like to spell this wrong. They like to put it as works cited. Don't do that. Same thing in Microsoft Word. Click at the bottom, insert page break. And it seems to be there's a little tab. So I will get rid of that before I center a line and type in works cited. What did I do here? turned on formatting in some way. Okay. Just undo that. One take, everybody. MLA format. Next thing we're going to do, paste in our MLA citations for each source. So I happen to have all 5 of my websites open. The ones from mel.org are very simple. I go to the bottom, I select and copy my source citation. And you might notice, I'm going to enter, left align. You might notice if you paste this in, you get the font of the website, which is Arial instead of Times New Roman, and you get this weird gray highlight. So if you Control Z to undo that, instead you can paste without formatting. Control Shift V. And it keeps the formatting of your essay rather than the website, which makes things a lot easier. So I'm going to do the same thing from my other sources. I'm going to paste in without formatting. And then I'm going to show you how to find citations for other websites. Now sometimes life is simple, like this one, United States Census Bureau. All you have to do is click here at the top in the address bar until the entire web address is selected in blue, copy, and hop over to something like citationmachine.net. You can click a Create Citations button, click on MLA, paste in this URL. Apparently I've been searching for some board games. That's interesting. And select the one that pops up. And they found lots of information. They were missing a publisher sponsor, and if you click Final Step, you'll see all the other things. They're also missing an author. They have a corporation, though, because there wasn't an actual author. So this one looks good. Nothing is missing. I'm going to click Create Citation. And you can see that I've already done this, but that's okay. We'll click to the other one. Copy the web address, click Create Another Citation, paste this in, and this one, citationmachine.net, tried to find all the information it could, but it was missing several pieces. If you look, notice there is no author, but if you go to the website, there's an author. In fact, there's 2 of them. So we can add those authors, and if you were to type them in here, it would save it. And notice electronically published is also missing, whereas there's August 16th, 2018 right there. So you'd want to add those things before you click Create Citation. And notice the difference. This one right here was when I added the author's names and the date, and this one at the top is missing both of those crucial pieces of information. So yes, it's an auto citation website, but sometimes you have to think for yourself and add a few things. So I'm going to copy this one, which is the correct one, and hop over to my essay and paste it in. And there was one other one. What was it? The U.S. Census Bureau. I will copy that one and paste that as well. So on my checklist, I have pasted in my citations. Next up is to create a hanging indent. So I will copy all of these, or select all of these rather, and choose Format, Align, and Indent, Indentation Options. And then I'm going to go to Special and choose Hanging. And what that does is every line after the first is moved down. So I can get rid of these extra spaces now that I already have my hanging indent. Sometimes it messes up the hanging indent if you don't have those to begin with. And good news, I ran over onto the next page. Well, that can't really be helped. But we can paste this over into Microsoft Word just to save a little time. So left align and paste. And in Microsoft Word, we go to Page Layout, we go to Paragraph, and Indentation, we choose Special Hanging. Otherwise, everything else works the same. We have created a hanging indent. Next up, alphabetical order. Well, wouldn't you know it, mine is already in alphabetical order, A, C, M, A, M, I, U, S. If it was not, we would select one of these, cut it, and paste it in the correct spot. So you can move those around until they are in the right order. Make sure you are selecting the entire thing, otherwise it'll get really messy really fast. And the final thing to check is that if your in-text citations for quotations match your works cited. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look through our essay. I'm going to search for a left parenthesis here. And notice my in-text citation is U.S. Census. And then my next one is America's wealthy. So if I go down to my works cited, are those the very first words for those citations? Well, U.S. Census, the first two words. Yep, that's like a roadmap. It matches up with this one. If I wanted to find that source, well, here's the web address. The second one was America's wealthy. It matches up because those are the first words of my citation. Then I had Corcoran and Martin. So let's see if those are correct. Here, the author's last name was Corcoran, so I did that right. And Martin is also correct. Now, if I had used the U.S. population as a citation, but there was an author's last name, then I would know that I screwed up and I have the wrong in-text citation. It should always be the first word or first couple of words of what's on my works cited. And notice the last citation I had, Michel and Cited. When there's two authors, you do it with an and. If there's three or more, you would do this Michel et al. Thing, but there's not, so we'll leave it at that. And that matches up with this citation here, Michel and Cited. So I'm all done. You can either email me your paper and I will help you print it, or just grade it from there, or you can print it and turn it in.